Whoa, Rebecca English of Palace Confidential, the Daily Mail's royal editor, is fighting back in court against Prince Harry. She's just branded him a liar. The mainstream media are, of course, completely ignoring her evidence, despite the fact that they covered exactly what Harry said in intimate detail. So we are going to examine what's really gone on at the High Court today.
Another chapter in Prince Harry's long-running battle with the British press is now playing out in court. And this time, the spotlight has shifted to the Daily Mail's royal editor, Rebecca English. During a high court trial examining allegations of unlawful information gathering by the newspaper, English has firmly denied claims that she ever asked a journalist to obtain sensitive flight details about Prince Harry's trips abroad. The case is part of a broader lawsuit brought by several high-profile figures, including Prince Harry, Sir Elton John, and Baroness Lawrence. They accuse Associated Newspapers Limited, the publisher of the Daily Mail, of committing what they describe as grave breaches of privacy. The newspaper, however, strongly denies those accusations. At the center of this particular moment in the trial are emails between Rebecca English and Mike Bayer, a freelance journalist based in South Africa. Bayer had reportedly sold stories and information to British newspapers for years. Prince Harry's legal team claims that Bayer obtained private flight details about Harry's travel plans, particularly during the years when the prince was dating Chelsea Davy. The allegation is that Bayer may have the information from airlines, essentially persuading companies to reveal confidential details that should never have been shared. According to Harry's lawyers, those flight details ended up being used to write stories about the prince's movements and relationships. But Rebecca English says that simply isn't true. Speaking in court, she insisted she never asked Bayer to obtain flight details and never knowingly used such information in her reporting. One of the articles discussed during the trial was a 2007 Daily Mail story claiming that Prince Harry had taken Chelsea Davy on what was described as a make-or-break holiday. English told the court that the source of that information was not secret airline data, but rather dense at Leeds University, where Chelsea Davy was studying at the time. She said one of her contacts had told her that as soon as the university term ended, Davy would be going away, which allowed journalists to piece together the likely timing of the trip. However, Prince Harry's lawyer, David Sherborne, challenged that explanation. He pointed out that the article didn't just speculate about travel plans. It stated with certainty that Davy was flying out that weekend. According to Sherborne, the reason the newspaper could be so specific was because English had been sent emails from Bayer detailing the couple's flight booking. English responded by saying she did not remember receiving such an email and that the suggestion did not match the type of communication she typically had with Bayer. In fact, she went further, saying the two did not even have a good working relationship. At one point during her testimony, she told the court she had been on the receiving end of some not very pleasant behavior from him. She also added a broader point about the difficulties women can face while working in the competitive environment of journalism. You don't understand the lived experience of a woman working in this business and the men who are difficult to deal with, she told the court. The trial also examined another story from 2004 titled How Harry Fell in Love, which included details about Harry talking about his relationship with Chelsea Davy during a campfire gathering in Botswana. English explained that those details had not come from secret surveillance or illicit sources. Instead, she said the information had been passed along by a colleague who received a tip from someone who had been present at the campfire. According to her witness statement, Prince Harry had described his girlfriend during the conversation without revealing her name. Later, when news broke that he was dating Chelsea Davy, the person who had heard the story realized its significance and contacted the newspaper. Harry, however, has offered a different perspective. When he gave evidence earlier in the trial, the Duke of Sussex said it was extremely unlikely that anyone present at the campfire would have spoken to journalists about the conversation. Instead, he suggested the information might have been obtained through other means, possibly through private communications, such as a voicemail. And that disagreement highlights the central question at the heart of the entire case. Did journalists gather information through normal reporting and tip-offs, or were they crossing the line by using unlawful methods to obtain private details? The court was also shown emails from Baer discussing Prince Harry's travel schedule, including when he would arrive in Cape Town after participating in the Walking for the Wounded charity trek, and when he would fly back to London for Christmas. Harry's lawyer argued that this again suggested the reporter was receiving confidential flight information from sources that should never have provided it. But English firmly rejected that claim. She told the court she had been given information about Harry's movements directly by the charity organizing the track. In other words, she insists everything she reported came from legitimate sources. For now, the case remains unresolved. What is clear, however, is that Prince Harry's conflict with the British tabloid press, a battle that has shaped much of his public life, is far from over. And as this trial continues, it's likely to reveal even more about the complicated relationship between the royal family and the media that has followed them for decades.